What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Tomasello here with Christopher Gold. Chris, welcome to 2020.
Thanks, Justin. I'm happy to be here.
You did a great job of surviving another year.
We did, man. We made it. Somehow, some way, we managed to scrape by, get through, and now here we are in a bright, brand new, beautiful year with brand new possibilities and, a whole 360 some odd days ahead of us.
Yeah, a lot to look forward to for everybody. A lot to look forward to for us in particular here at Press It Repeatedly. We closed the year with a bang like we always do. Our last episode was our Game of the Year recap. You know, we went through everything. It was awesome. It was crazy.
It was great. It was not controversial at all. Everybody was 100% happy with the final rankings. So, yeah, it turned out even better than I expected.
Yeah. And, you know, these two episodes back-to-back throughout our years now of doing Press It Repeatedly are always fun because last episode was a year, looking back at the year, and then this episode is always looking forward to what's ahead in the year with our top 5 most anticipated games of 2020.
Yeah, this is always one of the more fun episodes that we do because, like you said, we look ahead to what's coming down the pike. And what's always interesting to me, too, is how many games, it's always fun to look back at the end of the year to, look at the games that are our most anticipated, but we also realize how many games that made our final list that we weren't even aware existed at the beginning of the year. Like, right now, there are games that are currently in the works that you or I are not aware of that could make our final list at the end of the year, but they're not going to be here just in this episode just because we don't know about them.
Yeah, the surprises that come out throughout the year are always awesome. And even now you're getting some that are like, and this crazy game launches today.
Yeah, Apex Legends, which, that was a great game. I had a lot of fun with that.
Tetris 99.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of awesome games that just got sprung on us. I mean, heck, Fallen Order last year was one of our top games of the whole year, and we didn't know about that until E3 of that year.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff conversely as well when you look at it, like, oh, this game's supposed to come out this year, and you don't hear anything about it, and then all of a sudden the year's over, and you're like, where the heck is this game?
Like Ghost of Tsushima, In the Valley of Gods, which we discussed in great detail last episode. Yeah. The point being, this list, Justin has his 5 most anticipated games. I have my 5 most anticipated, and we're going to go back and forth discussing them in length at the end of the episode. It's not necessarily an exhaustive list. It's not something that is set in stone necessarily. I mean, it will be once this episode goes live, but it's something that for right now at this moment in time is what we're anticipating, but I mean, it's subject to change throughout the year, I think.
Yeah, as always, it's a lot of fun to look ahead and get hyped, and then at the end of the year basically see if those games and expectations lived up to what we were expecting. So
right,
we'll see.
And the most important thing to remember, as always, faithful listeners, is that our 5 most anticipated games are each the only games that you need to be looking forward to for 2020. If we don't mention your favorite game that you're looking forward to in 2020, then you should just neglect it. Don't even pay it any mind, because it's
going to be terrible.
It is going to be terrible. We're professionals. We've been doing this for a few years now, so we know what we're talking about.
A few years, he said, sheepishly.
No, that is, of course, Bupkis. Everyone's got different flavors, different tastes. If you've got a game that you're really looking forward to, that we don't talk about, just let us know by the end. But for right now, we don't want to hear it. Right now, this is our time to shine.
And it's been a while since we had a traditional episode, so let's kick it off. Chris, what are you playing?
What are you playing?
Justin, I'm really glad you asked. So I've been playing a couple new things over the past couple weeks. Now, this is, it's the holidays. We're just winding down from all that. We're seeing friends and family and eating a lot of food and trying to squeeze in some video game time as, we're trying to find some free time during that busy season. So it was a little tough, but I did manage to play one of my Christmas gifts that I received last year. And
Ooh.
yes, and that was our top four game of last year, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Hey, you've got your own copy.
I finally got my own copy, and man, oh man, let me tell you, this game, like, you guys really hyped this game up, and it really lives up to that hype. Like, it is.
I'm glad, because I'm worried sometimes that I talk a little too much about my love for this game, but I think when everyone does get around to playing it, they really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You do talk too much about this game.
Okay.
But it's warranted with Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, it's a beautiful game. Like, oh my god, like last episode you gushed a while about how gorgeous this game is, and you were right to gush as much as you did, because it's not even just the lighting, the graphics, it's the animations, the art style, everything about it just coalesces together to just come into this beautiful package of a game. Like, Luigi's Mansion 3 is just a gorgeous game to look at and experience.
That's awesome. How deep are you?
Let me see. I just got to the first, slight spoilers, first encounter with Polterkitty.
Okay. So
I'm about halfway through. I think I made it to the 8th or 9th floor. It's 7th or 8th floor, somewhere around thereabouts.
Yeah, the last floor you did was the movie theater one, I believe?
Yes, I did the movie. Yeah, I did the movie theater one, and that was after the garden one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just did the movie theater one, and that one was a lot of fun. I love how each level is varied with not even just like the theme that each level is going for, but what gameplay wise it is that you need to do on each level. Like, you were talking last time you had played Luigi's Mansion 3, how in the garden world you get the saw, and you can, like, cut through a lot of the different environments and the things that are in each room, and just, like, it's, like, a real satisfying, and it just, like, poof, like, cuts right through it. That was really satisfying. Although, I gotta admit, I wish you could use that saw more throughout the level, because you only really use it, at least as far as I could tell, in a couple of rooms.
Yeah, like 1 or 2 rooms, but it would be awesome to just run through the entire hotel and just absolutely destroy the place.
I mean, not the whole hotel. I'm just saying that one floor. But can you imagine,
kidnap my brother, will you?
Yeah, like King Boo is at the top. He's like, what the hell is going on? The whole hotel is just crumbling down below him. He looks down the side and there's Luigi, like sawing through the whole thing. His face is like, yeah, no, that is not, that is not what you do in this game. But it would be hilarious if you did. But yeah, you do the saw in the garden level. The movie level, that was cool because you had the different areas. You had to solve like the puzzle in one room, which will help you solve the puzzle in the next room, and so on and so forth. I really liked that internet connectivity there. It was it was just a lot of fun ideas in Luigi's Mansion 3. The controls are a little confusing. They are a little, like, it's got those tank type controls you had mentioned, like Luigi moves back and forth, and the one control stick rotates you around. That does take a little getting used to, but it's not too challenging, for me at least, to overcome. Once you get the hang of it, you can kind of work with it a little bit. I like that the control scheme also allows you to use the shoulder buttons as you're using like the flashlight, the dark light, and the suction and the blowing out feature of the poltergust. I like that you can use the shoulder buttons rather than the face buttons, because that makes things much easier to control in the long run.
I would call those controls tricky, not bad. They're definitely difficult to get used to, and it does take some time. But you'll notice later on, the further you go into the game, you become more adapted to the feel of it and how it works with the camera and everything.
The controls aren't necessarily such a challenge that it's a barrier of entry into the game. It definitely, like you said, they're tricky. They take a little getting used to. But once you get into the flow of the game and you're playing the game for a while, it just kind of comes naturally. So I'm not overly concerned with the actual controls. There are some parts of the game where I feel like it does run into a little bit of pacing issues. For instance, there was that one level where you get the elevator button, and then the mouse steals the button, and it keeps like hiding, and you have to set out cheese and wait for it to come get it, and then you have to like flash him. And let me tell you, I was getting really mad at Luigi because every time he would grab the elevator button and he just had to hold it way up high and be like, I did it! And then the mouse would jump on, grab the elevator button out of his hand and run off with it. I'm like, God freaking damn it, Luigi. Just take the button, be happy
with it. Put it in your pocket.
Yeah, put it in your pocket, like put it down. Instead, he holds it up and he's like, yeah, I sure hope a mouse steals it. And it does. And then he's like, oh no. And I'm like, oh God, Luigi. And then if we're being particularly honest, the part I just played with Polterkitty, that was, I felt like, because if like you do your thing, like you beat her in one room, and then she zooms off to another room, and then she goes down a level, and I'm like, so I had to go all the way to the elevator, go down a level, then I had to search all that level to try to find Polterkitty, and it just felt like the game was slamming on the brakes for a while, making me do this thing just because, like, I just earned this elevator button. Now I've got to re-earn the elevator button. I was like, come on, don't make me do this game. I just want to get the elevator button and go.
Definitely agree with that. It's like unnecessary padding that didn't really need to be there. The mouse, the cat, like there's a few different times you have to backtrack and go through all these different rooms just to try and get the elevator button again.
Yeah.
It's frustrating and it does kill the flow. I will say, I think whenever that happens, the next floor isn't as long or as hard to get through as previous floors, so it's kind of like a little bit of a trade-off there, but it's still annoying. Like, I'd rather have long new floors than have to go back and do things again. Backtracking sucks in any game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially if it's not like, see, one of my favorite genres, and we've talked about this before, Metroidvania, quote unquote. Backtracking is a big part of that genre, but it's caked into the formula. You know what you're getting into when you go into one of those games, and and expect, okay, there's going to be some backtracking involved in this. I'm okay with that. Like, you signed off on that. For a game like this to all of a sudden throw in, like, you got to backtrack and you've got to do this and, you've got to refetch the thing that you just got. Like, it just, like you said, feels like padding and it feels unnecessary. Yeah, I was not a fan of those sections. Now, I don't mind so much the backtracking when I specifically choose to go ahead and backtrack. Like, I love the little mini, kind of like the side quests that you can do where you're hunting the booze, and you can go back to earlier floors and research them and go boo hunting. I've actually done that on a few of the earlier floors just by choice, and it's a lot of fun because You go hunting for each of the boos, and Luigi in your tank, like, he vibrates when a boo is nearby. And when you go into a room where the boo is hiding, there are several areas where it could be hiding. And if you look in the wrong space, then he'll pop out, be like, yeah, I'm Luigi, or I'm Bulldog, and then he'll say something stupid, and then he'll vanish into another room on the same floor. So you have to go to that room, search, and again, you look in the wrong spot, he'll go to a different room. But if you find the right area where it's hiding, then you get into that fight, and that's a lot of fun. And it's also very satisfying, because...
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you suck up their tongues and you just wham, 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 just wallop them back and forth over and over again. It's just so, like, I think you said before, it's like a stress reliever. Just, like, taking these ghosts, swinging them over your head and wham, slamming them into the floor. Oh, it's just so fun and satisfying, especially when there's another ghost there and you can slam this ghost into the other ghost. And
there are animations of, like, the ghost is, like, waving its hands, like, no, please don't, and, like, you just smash him anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, no, please. I was having a lot of fun with that. So, yeah, all in all, I'm about halfway through the game, considering how many floors there are and how high up the elevator I am. But I'm overall really enjoying my experience with the game. It's definitely not without its flaws, but it's... these are flaws that I feel like I can overlook and really enjoy the overall experience of the game. So, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
I had a big, dumb smile on my face throughout probably 95% of that game. And, it's just that loving charm that's in there is just so appealing and, just makes it such a fun experience. There's a great part coming up soon for you. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just going to say 3 words. Toad found footage.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm sure, I'll enjoy this reenactment of the Blair Witch Project starring Toad.
Cool. So what else have you been playing?
All right. So the other game I've been playing was kind of a critical indie hit. I don't think it was last year, but I think it was the year before when it came out. It came out later in 2018, I believe, and a lot of people really enjoyed this one. I had wanted to give it a try, but I just didn't really have the time or anything else, too many games. And so I finally decided to give this one a spin. It just came out on the Nintendo Switch, and it is Return of the Obra Dinn.
Oh, nice.
Return of the Obra Dinn is an interesting idea for a game. So you are an insurance adjuster in, like, the early 1800s, all right? And this ship called the Obra Dinn has just come in from sea, and everybody on board is dead. So it's your job as the insurance adjuster to climb aboard the ship and figure out what happened. Now,
shouldn't that be like an FBI agent's job, not the insurance adjuster's job?
Well, bear in mind, this was the 1800s, the early 1800s, and I think it was England? So they don't have the FBI there. The FBI wasn't even a thought in their minds back then. This is like 1807 when this is all set. So you are you climb aboard the ship, and the art style is really interesting. It's kind of like a black and white, almost like pencil-y look to it. It's all first person. It's just really intricately detailed, really well illustrated. There's a lot of detail to this game, but none of it is in color. It's all strict black and white. And everything is really well defined, and it just has a very unique look. Like, it's instantly identifiable when you see screenshots of the game. And what you have is, I don't know how else to describe this, you have a magic compass.
Okay.
And you find, there's skeletons scattered all throughout the ship. and you go up to one of the skeletons, and when you look at it or you zoom in on it, you'll automatically pull up your magic compass. And you press the A button, and you'll immediately flip it open, and then, whoa, the screen will, like, kind of zoom in and black out. And as it blacks out, you'll hear people talking from the past. You'll insert yourself into the moment in time when that particular corpse died.
That sounds like, it wasn't Tacoma kind of like that?
Tacoma was very similar to this. Yeah, you had to go around and essentially Tacoma, you had to figure out what happened overall in general. For Return of the Obra Dinn, your goal is to figure out who these corpses are, like specifically who they are, and how they died, and if they were killed, who killed them. So, like, there was a lot of dramatic, crazy shit happened on the Obra Dinn in its final moments. You also have a logbook, which features all the people who were on the ship at the time that everybody died or at the time it disembarked, including, like, you have their names, their job titles, and where they were from. Your goal, again, is to find out who these people are, how they died, and, who killed them. So the very first thing you hear is someone saying, oh, like, and the screen is all black, and you see the text as someone is narrating them. Like, it's all voice acted. And he'll be like, Captain, open up this door. And you'll hear someone else be like, I'm not opening the door for anything. Captain, I'm warning you. If you don't come out there, we'll blow your head off. And the other person will be like, yeah, not if I get you first. And then you hear, and you're like, and then someone's like, Captain, no! And then it will come back from the black screen, and it will be mid-scene. Like, nothing will be animated, but you'll see a scene of some guy standing in the captain's quarters, shooting a pistol, and the guy who is now lying down on the floor, you see his body is, like, in the middle of flying backwards as a bullet is flying through him.
Oh, my God.
So you realize, so then you can look at your logbook and say, okay, this person was, and each line of each character has a set thing, like this unknown person suffered a mysterious fate. So you can, like, scroll through each of those particular things to say, okay, what was their mysterious fate and who were they? So for that particular person, you can scroll over to say, was shot and killed, and then by who? You go over and you say, by the captain. So that person was shot and killed by the captain. And then you kind of have to put the pieces together a little bit later to figure out, okay, who specifically was that? And the game doesn't ever really tell you explicitly, like, oh, the captain just shot that, this guy over there, blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, you kind of have to put the pieces together and deduce who these people are. Like, later on, one person gets clubbed in the head by some guy in the middle of the night, and his thing is like, oh, you bloody Dane, I'll have your head, and and then it comes through and he's getting cracked in the head. So you look through the logbook and you see, okay, only one person is Danish, so that person has to be the one who was just killed. So
kind of like Clue.
A little bit, yeah. It's very difficult, though. Like, as you go through, like, there's a lot of different pictures of each person that's on the ship, and the game, it flat out tells you a picture is blurry when you can't figure out who that is. But as the picture physically becomes more and more clear, the more and more you investigate the ship, once it's perfectly pristine clear, you should be able to know, okay, I know who this person is.
Oh, that's a cool mechanic. It's basically telling you have the information to be able to put together who the person is in that picture.
But here's the thing. I don't. Me specifically, I'm like, okay, what clues am I missing here? I still don't know. I still don't know who these specific people are. So it's very, very hard. It's really, really cool though. There are some parts where like you are investigating the ship, and all of a sudden you'll like start shaking, and if you hit the button again, you'll see a spirit go flying away, and you have to follow that spirit to where it lands, and it will show you kind of like a missing corpse, like a corpse that isn't there. And when you investigate that, you'll discover that whoever that person was suffered a particular fate where it didn't necessarily leave a body.
Like they were thrown overboard or something?
Something like that, yeah. So I don't really want to spoil this game because it kind of gets into bonkers territory relatively quickly, but it's a fascinating game. Like I'm still like kind of playing it and figuring everything out, and it's just like, I wouldn't necessarily say fun per se. Like, you're not going to play this game and be like, yeah, woo, whoopee. Like, the way you play a video game ordinarily,
of course.
Right?
Whoopee, yippee,
yeah, yay! I'm having the time of my life over here. Yeah, the way people play video games.
Right.
But it's a fascinating game. It's just a really interesting experience. If you have like any interest in murder mysteries at all, then absolutely I would recommend the hell out of this game. But it's still really, really cool, even if that particular genre isn't 100% your thing. It's just it's uniquely designed. It's not like any game out there, like any indie game or anything. It really does its own thing, and it does it really well. And yeah, I think it's well worth your time.
That's awesome. Sounds really cool.
Yes, and aside from one particular game, which we'll get into later, that's going to do it for me. So, Justin, I'm going to throw it right back over to you. Excuse me. Let me try that again. I'm going to throw it right back over to you. What are you playing?
So manly.
I know.
I have been playing one multiplayer game and one solo game. The multiplayer game is For the King. I've gone back to that again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I will continue to say this is one of the best multiplayer experiences that me and my friends have had for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Butch and I wanted to play something last week. He suggested that. I was like, hell yeah. That game's always it's so relaxing and fun. And it's such a great, it sounds weird, but it's like the perfect tabletop experience virtually.
No, I agree with that because, I mean, you've got the different roles that you have to play as. You've got the character classes. It's hard as hell. It's a great representation of the tabletop experience.
If you wanted to blend Dungeons and Dragons, a board game, and a video game together, this is like the perfect combination of those three things. It's so fun. There's a lot of strategy involved with it. It is challenging. Butch and I were playing on the easier difficulty, so we could actually make it, decently far into the game and explore more of the map. But yeah, the first night that we played it, we were like, yeah, let's pop it on. 4 hours later, we were like, all right, we should probably stop. You get so sucked into it. It's so fun.
You really do. Easily my favorite part of that game is when you get into battle and you get the kill shot on the enemy. And the way they just, like, they take like a song damage or an arrow and their body just goes flying and flopping all over the place as soon as you hit them. Like, it's just It's hilarious watching the enemies go down.
Oh yeah, the animation, the ragdoll physics are great. The running away fleeing from battle animation is so good too. But yeah, I was telling Dave about it. He hadn't seen it before, and I really wanted to show it to him. And I saw that it was on sale on Switch for $12. So I picked it up to try that out to play locally and to show Dave, and we've played that for a few nights too, and like he's really into it. It runs really good on console, but I do think the definitive way to play would be on PC, because on PC you can basically hover over any icon or description on the map, and it will show you what it does or where to find something. On console, there's no really good way to do that. There is a button that brings up a bunch of character information that is helpful, but it's not as good as like, oh, what does this icon above my health bar mean? I've never seen that before.
Right.
Like, there's no way to like kind of highlight that and see exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue.
But yeah, it's a small thing. It's still tons of fun. I think all the DLCs are included in the console edition. That includes new characters, new items, new modes, everything. And yeah, it's a ton of fun. My only problem with this game is that it's only 3-player. I wish there could be more than that and just get a whole huge party going, because that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, For the King, it's awesome. It's super underrated. And if you're looking for a really fun multiplayer game and you're into like fantasy style stuff, I heartily recommend this game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, For the King is honestly, like Justin said, it's one of the best multiplayer experiences that you can have. Definitely try it. Pick it up if you haven't yet.
Yeah, and then the other game I played, I finally picked up the Outer Wilds. I almost said Worlds, but Outer Wilds.
Oh, you got Outer Wilds. Very nice.
I've been wanting to pick this up all year, but I never really got around to it. When I went to get it a few days ago, there was a sale on Epic. It was like a holiday sale where basically it just gave you like 20% off whatever game you wanted to get. So I was able to use that on Outer Wilds. That was pretty sweet. And yeah, I've been hearing a lot of very positive things about this game. So I was super excited to check it out. And I've been playing for a few hours, and it's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange game. I've heard people talk that when you first get into the game, there's definitely a feeling of, what am I supposed to do? Like, what's happening here? But then I forget who it was. It may have even been Will. I think he said like this game like clicks at some point for you, and then you're like, aha, and at that point you're just like hooked to this game. So it had been a while since I had played it myself, and I don't necessarily know if I got to that aha moment either. I do want to go back into this game because it's, again, very highly acclaimed.
Yeah, so I've heard all that stuff too. So even though like my first couple hours with the game I was kind of confused and unsure about it, I was like kind of forcing myself, all right, don't give up on this. This is something to behold from what I've been told. So let me keep exploring here. And it's fun, man. Like, I'm not 100% sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know basically you're just supposed to uncover information. That's pretty much the whole point of the game. You are of this alien race who recently figured out how to travel through space, and you're on a, I guess, expedition to learn more about a previous alien species that explored these planets and left behind some information. So you have a couple tools to identify things that previous alien species had left behind. You can read their transcriptions with a weapon that basically transcribes their writing. You have a sonar radar thing that can pinpoint different sounds from previous space explorers, so you can locate them and talk to them and swap information with them. What's cool is what's addicting, I think, for a lot of people, and I'm starting to figure this out, is you can go anywhere and do anything. It has that, open world exploration. And because of, we talked about this before on a podcast when you were playing last time, Chris, but there is that 22-minute time loop where basically the sun explodes and it just kind of resets back to you on your home world just before you're about to take off into space. And when I first heard that, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I love that so much, because I just don't like the idea of getting to somewhere and then being forced to go back and do it again. But the benefits that that has is basically you learn to not fear death anymore, which is awesome. The amount of ways I've died are hilarious, by the way. Let me go through a little list here. Let's see. Number 1, I accidentally piloted my spacecraft into the sun and burnt to death.
I did that.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you talking about that. I multiple times accidentally fell into a black hole and was warped to the edge of the galaxy so far away from anything that I basically just floated around until I ran out of oxygen.
Oh, God. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah. I made it to a planet where I was in a cave and sand was filling up from the bottom, and I got stuck in a corner, and the sand pushed me up against the ceiling, and my space helmet started to crack, and eventually, I guess, smushed me, and I died that way.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. I'm dying all these brutal deaths, and then just waking up on my home planet like nothing happened, but still having the memory of dying these horrible deaths. So this alien must be super fucked up when this is all said and done.
I just imagine the guy who, like, you're the opposite, who's sitting opposite you. He's like roasting marshmallows, like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? You want to roast some marshmallows?" And you're there like, He's like, "Yeah, you're all right. You look like you just got suffocated by a cave full of sand."
Yeah. Yeah, just keep waking up screaming every 22 minutes.
And this poor guy, he has no idea what's going on. He's like, "Geez, are you all right, buddy? You need to take a load off."
But yeah, I can totally see how it's a super relaxing, fun space exploration game. The controls are tough. I'm not sure if it's because I'm bad at piloting spacecraft or they're just not great, but I've gotten stuck a few times, which is unfortunate because, you have 22 minutes until your, loop is over. And sometimes when I'm fighting the controls, I feel like I'm wasting time trying to uncover stuff. And it's a little frustrating when I finally find something cool to uncover, and I'm in the middle of, like, deciphering these texts and everything. And then the supernova happens, so, like, I'm only, like, halfway done exploring something, and then it resets, and I have to go back to that area and do it again. But I guess that's just part of the game.
Yeah, see, whenever I hit moments where I get stuck or I feel like I've wasted time, at that point, like you said, like, you lose the fear of death to the point where you're just like, let me just start over, and then you'll, like, head straight into the sun on purpose just to reset the loop. It's just like, let me just start all over again. So you'll just kill yourself, and then you're right back to where you were before. So it's, like you said, it provides a good way to kind of reset the experience, but again, it's frustrating when you're in the middle of solving something and then the supernova happens.
For a while, I thought you basically have to wait until you die to reset the loop. Then I found out there's an option in the menu to basically end loop and restart. So there's a few times where I was just floating around in space, waiting to run out of oxygen where I didn't need to be doing that.
Well, you live and learn, or you live and die.
Yeah. But it's a super unique idea. It's really cool. I like the art style a lot. I like the character design. The Hamatarian, I think they're called, is your alien race. They're really cool looking. Mm-hmm. The writing's good. It's fun, man. Like, I'm looking forward to playing more of that and getting really deep and seeing the stuff I can uncover.
Yeah, it is really cool. I know it didn't... I think it was an honorable mention for us last year. It's interesting if more people on our end had played it, if it potentially could have placed in the top 10. I know for a lot of the other, like, the major gaming publications out there, it ranked very, very highly on a lot of people's lists. It was a lot of people's personal game of the year last year, which... Personally, it wasn't necessarily mine, but I can see how it resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really appreciated the surprise of the game, the uniqueness of it, and it's kind of popular when there's an experience where it's kind of hard to explain and you have to play it for yourself kind of thing. Like, I remember that game, The Witness, got a lot of love for being the same thing. it's kind of this puzzle game that like, oh, it's more than what it seems, but I can't tell you. You have to play it. Like that kind of thing, I think really entices a lot of people. Yeah, but that's it for me, which means it is time for the first time this year, the Indie Arcade.
Indie Arcade.
Oh, how I missed it.
If you recall, way back, months ago at this point.
I think months ago.
Yeah. I assigned Chris the game Uriel's Chasm to play. Chris, take us there.
All right. Uriel's Chasm. Where to begin with this one? Now, for those who don't know, for a while now, some mysterious benefactor has gifted Justin with a list of terrible, terrible indie games that
is correct.
That he can assign to me. I choose a random number, and that is the game that I will play from that Indie Arcade list that he has. Uriel's Chasm was one of these games. So this is a game that was, going into it, we all knew it was going to be a terrible, terrible experience. And Justin, I am pleased and proud to reveal that it was, in fact, a horrible, terrible experience.
The last bummer of 2019.
The final nail in my heart, the kick in my ass of 2019. This game sucks. So
what is this thing?
Oh, what an excellent question that is. So, all right. So when we first watched the trailer for this game, you and I, there was sort of an FMV element to it. There was some lady who was playing the game. I think this game is framed around the idea of somebody is streaming the game, like on Twitch, potentially.
Okay.
There's absolutely, I cannot stress this enough, there is absolutely no point or purpose to that framing device in any possible way, shape, or form. It does not change anything about the game. The lady and her boyfriend mumble a lot, so it's very hard to understand what exactly it is that they're saying. I think they're commenting about the game itself, saying like, oh, this game isn't really that great, blah, blah, blah. I think it's supposed to be like a meta thing where they're like, oh, this game is terrible. But you can't make out what they're saying, so it doesn't matter. The whole FMV thing literally does not matter. So you are playing the game, and this game is encompassing a whole bunch of different genres, and it doesn't do any of them particularly well. In all seriousness, this game has no real good focus to it, and I think that's probably the underlying issue with the game as a whole. So, I don't know if you yourself are Uriel, or if Uriel is like some sort of demon from the Bible or something. The Bible and religious references are littered throughout this game. Like this,
really?
Oh, this game is super duper ultra religious. Like pretty much all of the text is like quoted directly from Bible verses. It's kind of similar to when you played. What was your creepy arcade game?
Faith.
Faith. Yeah, so like how the guy is always quoting Bible verses there. Your main character here, she is quoting a lot of Bible verses herself. And, oh my god, so you start the game, and there's this weird pixely drawn imagery, and there's a bunch of text at the bottom, and it's an ugly font. Like, the whole game is just ugly. The art style is ugly, the text is ugly, and as this text is at the bottom, it starts out, it's kind of green overall motif, but then it like fades to blue and red, and then it's not there, and then it's green and blue and red, and then it's not there, and it just kind of like fades in and out like that. So as you're trying to read along with the narration that comes with the game, it gets a little frustrating and annoying having to do that. But I don't know if it's more annoying or frustrating than having to actually listen to the narration narrate the text. Because I don't care how slow a reader you consider yourself, Justin, no one will ever be as slow a reader as the person narrating this text. And you cannot skip it. I cannot stress this. You cannot skip it. So this person is like, oh, yay. I found myself in the valley of shadows. And I'm like, okay, I've read the whole thing by this point. Just please let me move on. And it just doesn't. Like, I have to go through the whole thing. And then it cuts to the next screen where there's another wall of text for the thing to read to me. I'm like, God damn it. And then the game just literally, once the text goes through, it just dumps you into the game. Like, and no warning, no saying, get ready, go. No, it's just, here you are, you're in the game. And it very, very barely explains to you what it is you need to do. I died a couple times, and I didn't even realize that I could move at this point. So, it starts you off in, so here's the overall plot. You are a nun, okay? You are a nun in outer space.
Space nun.
You're a space nun. And something has happened to a monastery, a space monastery, where it has disappeared. And you're investigating why.
Okay.
So you fly your spaceship. Fuck, I can't even say it. So you fly your spaceship as you're trying to explore this area of space where there's all these asteroids. This first part of the game is a twin-stick shooter, all right? So you see your ship, and you have to fly around, and you shoot with the Z button, which is weird, and you control your ship with the arrow keys on your keyboard. And you have the option to move diagonally, but it's cumbersome because, again, you've got the cardinal directions of the arrow keys to move around. So moving diagonally is an option, but it's not a great option.
Yeah.
You have these asteroids that are floating around this defined space that you have to stay in. And you shoot these asteroids with Z as you're moving around. You have 3 different collectibles that you need to collect in order to beat this particular area. You have, as you shoot the asteroids and break them open, sometimes there'll be enemy ships in there, and they're just going to fire at you constantly. It's very hard to avoid their fire and also shoot at them, but you have to somehow make do with doing that. And when they blow up, a fuel canister will come out. So if you're running low on fuel, then you have to zoom to the fuel canister, and it will replenish some of your fuel.
Okay.
Some of the asteroids, you'll blow them up, and a little canister, it looks like a hot dog. I called it like a space hot dog, would like go flying away very quickly, and you would have to zoom over, and if you collect that, that will replenish any damage you've taken.
Okay.
And then there are some asteroids, you blow them up, and a giant floating Bible will emerge from the asteroid, and you have to collect these Bibles. And the Bible...
Why is this game so heavy-handed on the religion?
I wish I could tell you. I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't know. Like, is this game made by religious people to try to increase people's faith? Because if that was the case, man, mission failed.
I don't know. If Space Nuns were a real thing, I might be more interested.
If this game was better made, like, if it was better quality, then maybe... But as it stands now, oh, man, no. Yeah. Absolutely not. So you go around and you collect these Bibles that will restore your faith. Now, the screen that you have to navigate all of this around, right? You're, I bet, assuming, you're picturing in your mind, okay, twin-stick shooter. You've got a big empty space to look around. You've got all these asteroids floating around.
Yeah.
Justin, you are imagining a much cleaner screen than what the game presents to you. In the top left corner of at the very middle of the screen is a radar, okay? And your ship is in the middle of that radar. And it's got all these little green dots surrounding the edge, which I think point to where asteroids are. And there's a giant green arrow that goes around the ridge of the radar itself. On the top left part of the screen, I'll tell you what that big green arrow does in a second. On the top left part of the screen is your picture. So you can see like what your Space Nun looks like. Beneath her are a bunch of vitals, I guess. Covering the bottom half of the screen is a whole bunch of green text, which I think are Bible verses themselves, or they might be instructions on what to do. I was ignoring all this text completely because a lot of it was just like, "Oh ye, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of fear," or shit like that. And I'm like, it's literally taking up half the screen. The right side, and right to your left, underneath where your vitals are, it shows you how much fuel you have and how much damage your ship has taken. On the right side of your screen, it shows you how much faith you have and how much garden there is.
Okay,
now,
what are faith and garden?
So, the only reason I knew what to do is because I read the very first screen, and it said you need to have more faith than garden. I don't know if garden was the Garden of Evil or
of Eden?
Garden of Eden or something, or whatever it was representing. But you needed to have more faith than garden. And right now, when you start off, your faith is 100 and garden is like 1,000. So the more damage you take, the more garden increases and faith drops. But if you stand still in space, then your faith will increase like every few seconds by 5 points. So theoretically, you could wait there and make it increase, but that's not feasible. You'll take too long. And also, there is a giant, the green arrow that I talked about on the radar. It's pointing towards the giant, fucking huge, spitting space alien that is slowly spinning around the entire screen. It doesn't take up the entire map, but it takes up, like, probably 40% of the entire map at any one point in time. And it slowly spins around, and as you're zooming around trying to find the asteroids, you can't run into it because it will take your damage down significantly.
Wow.
So you have to avoid this thing. You have to avoid the fire of the enemy ships as you're shooting the asteroids. You have to watch your fuel gauge, because if you run out of fuel, you have to start all over. If you take too much damage, you have to start all over. And by finding the Bibles, you'll replenish. You'll get your faith to build up more quickly. And at the same time, you have to avoid this spinning giant space demon that's trying to kill you. And the controls, again, you can move in 8 directions, but your buttons are only designed to move you in 4 directions. So it's cumbersome and awkward to try to move out of the way of these obstacles. So it's very easy to accidentally run into a lot of the asteroids and get yourself killed.
That sounds like just a mess.
Now, here's the thing, too, Justin. That's part 1. You beat this stage, then guess what? Then you go into another screen that says some shit. It's like, my journey is long and fortuitous, but in the arms of the Lord, he will carry me to glory, and shit like that. And then the game drops you into a side-scrolling bullet hell, where a bunch of enemies are flying at you from the left side of the screen, and bullets are exploding all over the place, and you have to dodge all of them. And you're the nun, and this is pretty cool. You've got like this ship that's like flying to the left, and you're just hanging from the front of it, firing your gun, like holding on with one hand and firing with your gun with your other hand. So I was like, okay, that's a pretty badass pose. You know, if you're gonna fly through space shooting down like evil aliens in the name of God, this is the way to do it. So
yeah, agreed.
So okay, one positive thing to say about this game. That's it. This part was so fucking brutally hard, though, because you have 3 hearts, and any damage you take at all for any reason whatsoever will take away half a heart. So you get hit 6 times, and you're dead, and you have to start all over from the beginning of that side-scrolling bullet hell. It was about this part. It was about around this time where I hit the Laney roll. I hit a half hour into this game, and I noped out.
Okay.
But Lewis was watching over my shoulder, and Lewis, God love him, he's so sweet, so naive, so foolish. He said, I want to try that.
Oh, no.
So he did. And, man, he got through it. He played through it a bunch. I watched him play, and eventually, after you get through all the bullcrap at the end, and he was losing. He was like, what the hell? This is so cheap. This is so stupid. Like, he got to the end, and you literally are facing a giant face of God who is just shooting all these freaking orbs and bullets at you. And after Lewis was playing for, like, I think a half hour himself, he beat this thing, and then it moved.
Wow.
And then the game moved over to like a platformer, like a side-scrolling platformer, and the whole screen was rotating as you were moving, so it was a little confusing moving left and right, and it was just so stupid. And then you get through that part, and you find these crosses of Jesus Christ being crucified. You find a bunch of those, and you beat that stage. And then you get to a new bullet hell type environment where there's this giant demon thing that's like screaming. Like, it was a weird, like, unsettling type of scream as it's shooting these bullets at you. And these bullets, each of the bullets are flashing like black and white. So you can't like make out like, okay, here comes a bullet, because it's flashing black and white at you. So it like disorients you, and you don't know where they're coming. And that is where Lewis noped out of the game. And I was like, oh man. So yeah, this game was everywhere and nowhere all at once. It sucked, and I hated it, and I cannot possibly recommend it to anyone for any reason whatsoever.
I'm really glad that he hopped in there and you guys were able to make it a little bit farther and really experience this thing.
Yeah, just get a little more meat off that bone, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sure the creator of this list of games, that either he, she, or it is very pleased right now.
Or they. Yeah, they better be pleased, because, man, we went above and beyond to play this shit. This is brutal game. Oh,
yep.
God.
You gave it your all.
Gave it your all.
And then some.
Yes, we did. It's yeah, I never want to play this game ever again.
Sounds like you had a really great time, and you're looking forward to passing that momentum on to me with another great time.
Oh, Justin. I wish I could say that was the case. But
I don't like how monotone you're being right now.
So, the game that I've chosen for you is an interesting one, to say the least.
Oh boy.
This one, Justin, believe it or not, this one is actually a sequel to one of our indie arcade titles. So it came out in 2015. It is on Steam. I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Are you ready?
I guess so.
All right. So, Justin, your indie arcade The first one for 2020 is Uriel's Chasm 2.
Oh, no.
And I don't know how to pronounce its subtitle.
I can't believe you would do this to me.
Yep. It's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, asshole.
Chris, are you aware there's a Uriel's Chasm 3?
I know the risks. I knew the risks, god damn it. So, I don't know how to pronounce the subtitle. I scrolled down, apparently this is Et. It's written, I guess it's in Hebrew. It's Uriel's Chasm 2. It looks like the sign for pi, and it looks like an X, kind of.
X, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently it's pronounced Et. So Et is an allegorical, multi-genre love story and exploration of the biblical themes of paradise and sacrifice versus offering. Et is a fantasy mega PC ROM hack. In Et, you play as a young girl who's been sent into another dimension as a sacrificial offering. You've been showered with mercy and adopted as a daughter by a mysterious entity known as the Abstraction. You are charged with cultivating a garden paradise on a barren frame in the middle of space for a mysterious suitor who is to come. Lately, you have been having strange prophetic dreams in which other dimensions have been sending antimatter tributes and sacrifices, all in a effort to win your hand and share your paradise. Also, a mysterious glitch in the very fabric of your reality called Mayim has started to show up. Reality bends as everything at the quantum level is digitized and rerouted to an eerie abandoned car park in Nauseous Pines. Wow. That's a lot. I will say, on the surface, if you didn't know what this game was going to be going into it, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds pretty awesome on its face. We both know, you and I, know that is not the case. This game is going to be a mess. In fact, here's what's advertised in Uriel's Chasm 2. All the game styles. Proto-bullet hell boss rush is just the beginning, as you are plunged into crazy game-style combinations, including configurations such as Frogger, Space Invaders, California Games Surfing? Wait, California Games Surfing, and Firefighting.
Okay.
Allegorical story that dramatically furthers the Nauseous Pines Uriel's Chasm universe of, and this is the developer's name, Rail Slave Games.
The cinematic universe of Uriel's Chasm.
Yep. Yeah, Marvel's branching out, man. You can't stick with just the Avengers for forever. Innovative mechanics, graze fruit to fill your rainbow antimatter launcher. Travel closer to the action to raise the risks bar and spin the fruit machine. So, Justin, you get to spin the fruit machine in this game.
Oh, fantastic.
Punchy, full Yamaha FM OST made on synths close to the actual Mega PC and influenced by a wide variety of styles from Indian Bhangra to Technosoft's Thunder Force series. So, there you go. I mean, we all know that a lot of times a sequel to a game can exceed the expectations of the previous entry. Like, the first entry in a series lays the groundwork, but a sequel builds off of that. So I think you could be in for a real good time with this one.
I'm just browsing all of these thumbs down comments, and we got some highlights like, what kind of fever dream have I played here? And the sequel that no one asked for. And finally, it made me Muslim.
Jesus Christ. Man.
Even the thumbs up comments are negative. Like this one, thumbs up, strange. This one, thumbs up. Can anyone tell me how to remove this mistake from my library?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So,
all right, well.
So yeah, Uriel's Chasm 2. Enjoy.
I'm feeling a bit nauseous from that. What do you say we take a quick break? And when we come back, we will dive into our top 5 most anticipated games of 2020.
Oh, mama.
Press A repeatedly. Justin Thomaso here with Christopher Gold, and it's time for us to kick off 2020 right by giving you, our loyal listeners and fans, our top 5 most anticipated games of the upcoming year.
Yep. These are, it's not an exhaustive list. There are going to be games that are going to be most anticipated for a lot of people out there that you are not going to see on our list. This is all personal preferences and everything. So there are going to be some major exclusions, I'm sure, which we'll talk more about at the end. So yeah, and like I said at the jump, our lists are kind of subject to change, but at this moment in time, this is what we're looking forward to seeing right now.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was digging back to last year, and on my list was Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I didn't even play that last year. It's crazy how my interest in that game kind of dipped, whether rightfully or wrongfully, but the wind was taken out of my sails for that game, and
and I mean
didn't even get around to it.
Yeah, that's more than fair. One of my most anticipated games was Yoshi's Crafted World, and I did play that game a lot, and it was fun and all that, but ultimately it didn't really place too high on my end of the year list. So just because you're anticipating these games doesn't necessarily mean they're going to blow you away by the end of the year.
Yeah. All right. How do we determine who goes first?
All right. I do not remember who went first last time, so tell you what, I am going to go into Google and I'm going to say flip a coin. When you Google flip a coin, it will flip a coin for you. Justin, call heads or tails?
Tails.
All right. So I am going to flip a coin. You said tails?
Mm-hmm.
It is heads. All right. So I get to choose whether I want to go first or not, and I choose Justin to go first.
What an unnecessary, dramatic thing to do.
What a complete and absolute waste of everyone's time.
Yeah. Okay, I will kick this off here with my first most anticipated game, and that is going to be Minecraft Dungeon.
Ooh, excellent choice.
Yeah, they showed this off at E3 this year. It's basically Minecraft meets Diablo, which is awesome in so many ways because it's great to see the Minecraft IP after so long move on to a different style of game. It's a perfect multiplayer idea that I think will work really well. The adventuring was part of what made the original Minecraft so great. It's going to be, again, Mojang's working on it with Xbox Game Studios Publishing, and it has a release date set for April 2020, which isn't too far away. And it's going to be on everything, Switch included, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is probably the first major, I guess, expansion of the Minecraft universe into something that is a whole separate other game, and like you said, it's just a really unique looking experience. It's totally different. It's got that Minecraft look and feel to it, and it just looks like a hell of a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, all the different characters. I think there's a wizard, a swordsman, an archer, and you can just explore different worlds of Minecraft, and it looks like it could be a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's like you had mentioned before with For the King. It's almost like a representation of the tabletop experience with all the different character classes. It's just Minecraft.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Really excited for it. Chris, what do you got?
All right, so my number 5 that I'm going to detail here, this one was shown off at, I think it was the PC Gamer Show this past, Devolver Digital. It was at Devolver Digital's show at this past E3. It really caught my eye. It looks awesome and gruesome and fun. This game is Carrion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this game, you are a grotesque abomination that has been grown in an underground lab, and you have broken free. And your mission is to escape from the laboratory, and all the scientists are going to be fighting back against you. They're going to send the military to try to stop you, and you have to take them all out. So this is kind of a reverse of the typical horror genre type game where you have to fight against this evil abomination that has broken free. In this game, you are the evil abomination. So I really like that they've kind of flipped the concept on its head and shifted the focus to you, where you're just trying to get out, and you're taking out anyone who's trying to stop you. It's very graphic. It's the very, very bloody, gruesome looking game. It looks awesome, though. Planned release for 2020 doesn't necessarily mean that it will release 2020, but it's we're hoping. So yeah, Carrion is number 5 on my list.
Yeah, it's always a cool idea to be able to play as like an unstoppable monster, and it looks like you have a lot of really cool like moves and different like alien like things that you can do to kind of just wipe the floor with everybody that's in the room. So it looks like it'll be a ton of fun when that comes out.
Yeah, and you just look so awful. Like, you've got all these like bulges and eyes everywhere. You've got tendrils and tentacles that are all over the place. Like, it's both horrifying and awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
All right, Justin, what's next up for you?
Next up to me is probably a given. This is probably one of the biggest games that's coming out next year. It was on my list last year, but Ghost of Tsushima for PS4.
Very, very good. Yeah, this game, the more you look and see this game, the more beautiful it looks.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's just got another really big trailer shown off at the Game Awards last month, and it gave us a release date of summer 2020, so hopefully they stick to that. I know it's been kind of pushed around a lot, but the game does look massive and beautiful, and looks like there's definitely a lot going on. It just looks awesome. Like, you're playing as this like ninja samurai guy in feudal Japan, and you're just like, the music and environment and presentation of the game just looks really cool, and it could be like a really great swan song to the PS4. So I'm looking forward to this a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we're got a new console generation coming at the end of this year, so it's going to be it for the Xbox One, the PS4. So this will be a really great game to send the PS4 off with a bang. And I mean, it was a great console. It deserves something great to.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So my number 4 most anticipated is the next iteration of a dormant series, but one that is still beloved to this day. That, of course, is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
All right.
Yeah, I love the whole conceit of this game where you're on an island and you're kind of building up the community yourself. Like, you're pretty much just starting from scratch. It's I mean, again, you're probably going to be in indentured servitude to Tom Nook, as in every Animal Crossing experience. But I really loved and enjoyed all the Animal Crossing games, like the mainline Animal Crossing games, like New Leaf. I put countless hours in the original GameCube version, just a ton of time. I'm really excited to see what they do with this new iteration of the game. Like, they've got updated character models and updated environments. There's the camping experience that you can bring to the game. It looks really awesome, and I'm looking forward to it.
It looks great. I don't know why, but I have this weird like feeling in the back of my head that there's going to be something wrong with this game. Like, something will be weird in it that makes it not great, or something will hold it back. I really hope I'm wrong. I just have this weird sinking feeling that they're going to somehow maybe mess this up a little bit, but I don't know. I want to see more. I'm excited to see more. I'm sure we'll see some more videos within the next couple of months. But I really want this to be that game that everybody wants. I think the hype and the want of this game might be adding to that feeling of like, oh, it's not going to be able to live up to it. But we're just going to have to wait and see.
I mean, yeah, we'll wait and see. When have fans of Nintendo's games ever been truly disappointed or upset with one of their entries in a mainline series?
Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah. I mean, as long as Peanut, the pink-purple squirrel, is in the game, then I'm satisfied.
I'm partial to Phoebe the ostrich.
I see. Yeah, maybe. I just hope it's not another, like, Pokedex disaster where they're like, oh, we had to cut some of the villagers out to make room for new features, and it's like a spicy curry feature. But yeah, Animal Crossing New Horizons, that's my number 4.
Awesome. Let's see, next with me is another one that was on my list last year that did not come out last year, and still very vaguely quiet. There's really no information about this game and if it will even come out this year. But Tunic, that was the game that was shown off a few years ago about a little fox guy. It was like a top-down Zelda-style exploration game with really cool-looking graphics. Developed by Andrew Schuldice and published by Finji. It was supposed to come out, I think, at the end of 2018. Didn't happen. It's supposed to come out in 2019. Not a word. And here we are in 2020. It's still, I struggled to find any information about this game. So, I'm sure they're just taking their time with it, which is fine. But I would appreciate like an update log or something to see where it's at, because I want to play this thing. It looks awesome. It's right up my alley, and I hope by some miracle it will come out this year.
Yeah, I hope so too. I feel like every single time you mention this game, I think I forgot all about this game. I would love updates on this too, because it's a Zelda-style adventure. It's got foxes. Those are two of my favorite things in the whole world.
Yeah.
This game should be right up my alley too, and haven't really heard word one about it. So yeah, some updated news would be much appreciated. But yeah, good pick.
Yeah, this guy's pretty much making this game by himself, so of course that's difficult and it's going to take a long time. But if we could just kind of, I can't tell like Stardew Valley, the creator whose name escapes me at this moment, he was very vocal. He had a whole like Reddit page set up, like what he was working on, and like here's what I'm implementing now, and like just kind of kept the fans like engaged by what was happening. And I just prefer that to this like radio silence that's going on towards this game, because it's unnerving. Like, what if there's a problem? What if this isn't going to come out at all?
Yeah, I don't remember what his name is either. His social media handle is Concerned
Ape,
and he's constantly putting out updates, even now, on like the multiplayer update on Stardew Valley, what's going on with this version, that version, what patches are coming out. He communicates a lot about what's going on with the game. So you'd hope that other developers would be as transparent in their process, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Unfortunately.
Yep. We'll see. Time will tell. What do you got next?
All right. So my next one was this one is actually a sequel to one of my favorite games that I had played in way back in 2017. Remember how busy that year was. This one is a sequel. It was originally envisioned as an expansion, but there was just so much substance here that the developers decided to release it as its own standalone game. Those developers are Team Cherry, and that game is, of course, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. Hollow Knight is just... If you haven't played Hollow Knight, just stop listening right now. Go buy Hollow Knight, play it, and just have the friggin' time of your life. It is so good. Like, it's so solid. The experience, top to bottom. I don't really have a negative thing to say about the game. It is just incredible. Go play it, and then come back and realize that Team Cherry, the developers, are putting out a sequel that is starring Hornet. She is the sometimes early enemy who eventually you team up with as the game progresses. She is the protagonist of this game, and you have to explore Hollow Nest once again, and just navigate the world and explore all it has to offer. I'm just really excited to jump back into this world again, and relive the experience. Right now it has just a general 2020. Right now on Steam it says TBA, so there's no guarantee it will come out in 2020. A lot of anticipated lists that are currently out there are saying that this game is anticipated for 2020, and I'm anticipating it for 2020, so I figure, I'll put it on my list. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and if you haven't been looking forward to it, then you, faithful listener, should, because Hollow Knight is awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. I think Hollow Knight, for a lot of people, was like a slow burn into popularity. Like, it came out, and, a lot of people played it, right when it launched, but I think over the past couple of years, more people have found out about it and played it and experienced it, and it's only, gained in popularity. So I think that this sequel coming out in 2020 is going to be great timing for it. I think it's going to have a huge impact. A lot of people are going to be interested, and I think this is coming to everything as well, right?
I believe it is, yes. It's coming to most platforms, definitely PC. Probably, right now we're kind of in that awkward phase where one generation's ending, the other's beginning. I'd imagine this is probably going to come out for at least PS4 and Xbox One. Might come out for the PS5 and Xbox Series X when that eventually comes out. So, whichever platform it comes out on, though, definitely worth getting. And get its predecessor, too, Hollow Knight, because, again, amazing game, instant classic. Can't sing its praises enough.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Justin?
This is actually pretty funny, Chris, because my next pick is also a sequel, also to a game that I played in 2017, but it is not Hollow Knight. This is Little Nightmares 2.
Ooh, very good pick. Oh, I forgot that this was coming out.
Yeah, Little Nightmares was a surprise hit for myself, and Dave, I think, was a big fan of the game as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
we dedicated a whole episode just to Little Nightmares.
That's right. I forgot. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. We've had so many episodes, we're starting to forget particular ones.
Yeah. Is this a fun, exploration, horror-based game with some really cool-looking visuals? Very creepy-looking side-scrolling platformer. That was just a really fun experience, and I wasn't expecting a sequel for this, but lo and behold, it was announced last year by Bandai Namco, and it has the set release date for this upcoming year, and I am really looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the first one, and I hope, much like Hollow Knight, that over the years, a lot of people have learned about this game, played it, and are anticipating the sequel as much as I am.
This game was so creepy. So creepy, but it was just so good and so well done. By the end of it, the whole experience just has this real creepy, dark atmosphere. It's not a jump out and scare you type game, but it's just an eerie, you're unsettled throughout the whole playing of the game.
Yep, and next year, really, really excited for that.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, so we're on a sequel kick right now, because my number 2 anticipated for 2020 is another sequel to a much beloved game that I played several years ago, not 2017. This one was played a couple years prior. It was one of my particular favorite games then. Everything I've seen about this game now has me just as excited as last time. That game, Justin, is of course Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
Heck yeah.
Oh man, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It just looks so good. From the first trailer that announced the game, do you remember where it had like the sad owl and his like owl family that died in the very beginning? Like that was.
How could I forget that soul crushing scene?
Man, if there is a word to describe the Ori experience, it's soul crushing. Especially like in the very beginning, they do a very good job of like getting you feeling for these characters, and then like they rip out your heart at just the right moment, and you're like, oh no, like, and you just feel that heartbreak, and then you have to play the rest of this game, and it's a Metroidvania style game, so it's my favorite genre, and it's got like that classic gameplay. The controls are super tight, the environments are really varied and fun to explore. Ori and the Will of the Wisps looks like it's exactly the same type of thing. I'm excited to see how they expand on that previous formula, what new gameplay mechanics they have to offer. I'm just super hyped for this game.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. This was supposed to come out last year and, kind of got pushed back, which again is fine. Take your time with it. The game, they've been showing some progress videos, and it looks even better than it was looking when they first showed it off. And yeah, another game that has a lot of fanfare, and really excited to get our hands on that in 2020.
Yep. It's due to come out March 11th. So in just another couple months, this one should be available to play, coming to Xbox One and Microsoft Windows, because this is one of those rare games that's actually a Microsoft first-party. It's a first-party game, so
right.
It's exclusive to the Xbox platform. So, yeah, Xbox fans, rejoice! You have, you have that one exclusive that everyone really, really wants to play.
Yeah, they're on their way back.
Yep, they're making a comeback. You'll see. All right, Justin, what is your most anticipated game of 2020?
All right, so this one I think might be a shock to everybody. I'm not sure if anyone knows about this game, but I've been seeing videos of this game on Twitter randomly, of like in production videos, and I had to follow this account immediately because I loved the art style so much. It just really caught my eye, and I've been keeping tabs on it, and it's supposed to come out in 2020, so I'm very excited for Sable.
Sable?
Yeah, so if you haven't heard of Sable, it's basically...
How do you spell that?
It's spelled Sable, and the art style is so awesome. It is like a graphic novel come to life. It's got these thin outlines and these cool cell shaded textures on top, and you're basically playing as this wanderer who's wandering throughout the desert exploring, and it's got a lot of like journey feel I'm kind of getting from it. And a lot of Hob as well, if you remember that game that came out a couple years ago. Yeah. And you're basically exploring these old ruins in this desert, but it just looks so awesome. And you ride around on this, I don't know what else to call it, but it's kind of like the land speeder from Star Wars, and you just kind of are like blasting through the desert, driving around on this thing, like exploring these old ruins. And it just looks so cool and like mysterious, and the soundtrack looks great. It sounds great as well. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm really pumped for this. It's developed by Shedworks, published by Raw Fury. It's going to be on Xbox and Windows, and Steam as well, and coming out this year.
I'm looking at the trailer for it right now, and I am blown away. This game just looks gorgeous. I I don't know what's more impressive to me, the art style, the cell shading, or the animation, like the actual quality of the animation itself.
Yeah.
It's just everything just flows together so well. The art direction is like top notch in this game. And if this was not on my list before, but I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this one too. This looks super super good.
Yeah.
And it's coming out this year.
Supposedly, yeah. It was supposed to come out last year. They moved it to 2020. Yeah, I really hope it does because I'm super pumped for this game. It just looks like such a fun game to just relax and like blast around the desert in.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Your main character looks really cool. She's got like that. She's wearing like a skull as a mask, and she's got like a red hood. Yeah, it looks really really cool.
Yep. And that is my complete list. Chris, time for you to wrap yours up.
All right, so mine is not going to be as much of a shot out of left field. If if you know me, and I've been talking about this game a lot over the past year or so. Maybe not on the podcast, but off, among friends and all that. This is a game that I've been really, really looking forward to for a couple of years now. It is of course, next big project from CD Projekt Red, and that is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, so Cyberpunk 2077. It is, same guys who brought you the Witcher games. It is a cyberpunk universe, obviously. You are going to be exploring around, and it's got like a lot of RPG elements to it in an open world city, so you can explore anything, do anything. There's definitely like a criminal underbelly that you're going to be playing a major role in. I'm not entirely sure what the story itself is going to be, but you can modify yourself in a lot of unique, interesting ways so that you can interact with the world. I believe you can change perspective from first person. Let me see. Let's see. You can do a first-person perspective. I think you can switch to third person. I'm not entirely sure. It just looks cool. The style of it looks really, really amazing. And, of course, most importantly, it is going to feature Keanu Reeves. So,
yeah.
So how could you not be excited for this game?
Yeah, it does look really cool. I said before I wasn't too pumped for it, but I think it's just because I don't really know too much about it. I think I want to watch more videos, and maybe I'll rewatch that gameplay video they put out last year that was like 27 minutes long. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be huge. It's probably going to be like the most popular game of the year. But I don't know. You got Last of Us Part 2, you got Ghost of Tsushima. You get the Final Fantasy VII remake. I mean, there's a lot of big hitters coming out this year, but I could see that be the top of the list.
Yeah, a lot of big games coming out. Like you said, it's going to be a pretty crowded year next year. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of games coming out, including the launch lineup for the new consoles, which we don't necessarily know what those are going to be right off the bat. But they're going to want to come out swinging with something big and heavy.
Certainly.
So, yeah, just a quick recap of our top 5 before we go into the games that weren't on our list. So, my personal top 5 was Carrion, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Hollow Knight: Silksong, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, and mine were Minecraft Dungeons, Ghost of Tsushima, Tunic, Little Nightmares 2, and Sable.
So, naturally, like Justin, you just mentioned, there are a bunch of big games that are coming out this year that didn't make either of our lists. Most notably, Doom Eternal, the Final Fantasy VII remake, and probably most notable for a lot of people out there, The Last of Us Part 2 did not make either of our lists. Now, that I owe more to, haven't played The Last of Us yet, so I don't really have anything to base hype off of for that game. I want to play The Last of Us at some point, but I've got really no experience there to say, ooh, yeah, I'm really excited for it. Doom is going to be coming later this year. The new Halo will be helping launch the Xbox Series X. So
that's right.
There's a lot of really big games that are coming out that I'm sure a lot of people out there are really excited for, but just didn't really do anything for us, not just yet anyway.
Yeah, I mean, not to say we're not excited for them, it's just we're not as excited for them as these 5 games in particular.
Yep, absolutely. So all those games, again, are objectively going to be terrible, are not worth your time, so don't bother playing them.
Yeah, this sounds good. I think these are great lists, and I think we are all set to call this first episode of 2020 a wrap.
Yeah, I think it is the first great episode that we have done of this year.
Yeah.
Started the year off on a great note. And I'm really excited to see not just what we have in store for video games for 2020, but we ourselves have a lot to look forward to in 2020.
Yeah, that's right. We haven't mentioned on the podcasts, but I've been working over the holiday break on updating our blog page over at pressarepeatedly.com, which should be live by the time you're listening to this episode. So if you haven't already, head over to pressarepeatedly.com and check it out. We got a new platform with Squarespace. It just made a lot more sense for what we wanted to do. No more problems of unable to find articles or unable to leave a comment or unable to host images without weird watermarks on them. It just looks a lot better. So go on, check it out, contribute, send us any articles or drawings or anything that you have in mind, as well as just let us know what you think of the whole thing, if you see any bugs or errors or any of that stuff. Check it out. Our personal top 10 lists are starting to appear on there as well, so you can give them a look. And just a new awesome way to start off the year, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, we can't wait for everyone to see what Justin has done with the site. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a lot of work, not just putting it together, but Chris and I have had a few meetings over the past years about what was wrong with this one, why we should move, what platform should we move, what template should we use, so all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's really paying off, and hope it inspires everybody to write some more stuff and draw some more stuff to contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. No more Tumblr, thank God.
Yeah. See you in hell, Tumblr.
Burn.
With that being said, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, Press A Repeatedly posts new episodes every other Tuesday on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show, or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at PAR_podcast. I'm at cgold113, and Justin is at oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our brand new and improved website at pressarepeatedly.com. And that's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember to find the floating Bibles while avoiding the spinning giant demon in space. Press A repeatedly.